Peace, peace, peace. Everyone says Maurice, friends of the Congo, sitting in for Gaetan with the Congo Unfiltered. And we have a number of things to discuss today, but primarily focusing on what major media are reporting. Rwanda-backed M23 crimes, atrocities that continue to be committed in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which is ongoing 30-year war. A part of it, Rwanda's ongoing 30-year war of aggression and plunder against the Congolese people. And so a number of reports and activities have occurred over the past couple of weeks, really since the start of this month. We've seen a number of reports coming out about the continued war of aggression against the Congolese people in the east of the Congo. And just to give folks a brief backdrop, as I've said, and I will repeat it so everyone is clear, that Rwanda, Congo's neighbor, the Rwandan government led by Paul Kagame, and Uganda as well, both Rwanda and Uganda, have waged a 30-year war of aggression and plunder against the Congolese people. Started off in 1996, they invaded then, both countries invaded then, invaded again in 1998, even after peace talks in 2002, 2003, both countries have continued to support militia groups. There's a range of militia groups that they have sponsored and supported for the past 30 years. The names may have changed over the years, started out with AFDL, I'll just mention the alphabet, and right now we're at M23. But what has been constant over the 30-year period is that these militia groups that wreak havoc in the east of the Congo wouldn't be able to do it without the backing of Rwanda and Uganda, right? Talking about training, talking about command and control, talking about arming, talking about financing, and talking about troops, soldiers, Rwanda, Ugandan soldiers on the ground in the east of the Congo. And both these countries, Rwanda and Uganda, Rwanda in particular, are beneficiaries of US and Western largesse support. So without US Western backing, Rwanda and Uganda wouldn't be able to back the militia groups in the Congo the way that they have over the past 3 decades. And that's just on the military front. But in addition, the United States, Western powers, have provided diplomatic and political cover for the crimes that both these countries have committed against the Congolese people, to the point where they've been allowed or permitted or supported in the crimes that they've committed in the Congo, to the point where Congo is a space where we see the deadliest conflict occurring in the world since World War II, where an estimated 6 million people have perished from 1996 through 2000, 2007, at least. I know that people have seen some wild numbers on the internet. People say 10 million, 15 million. But we're only aware of 2 studies that have been done. One study documents by the International Rescue Committee 6 million from 5.4 million from 1998 to 2007. If you add the 200,000, that's well documented by Amnesty International, United Nations, the Garrison Report from 1996 to 1998. It's an estimated 6 million. And then a group of scholars challenged the 6 million number and came up with 3 million. But in any case, what we can say, once you get into the millions, you know, that the numbers become mind numbing. So either way, it's the deadliest conflict in the world since World War II. And it's been permitted to happen because of the backing of Paul Kagame of Rwanda, Yoweri Museveni of Uganda, receive from the U.S., U.K., and other powers. And this backing, what this backing has done, which this support has done, is enabled for at least three phenomena to persist over the 3 decades. One, there's been lack of accountability. I said the crimes that have been committed by Uganda and Rwanda. And we're focusing on Rwanda for the most part because of late, since 2022, Rwanda is pretty much taking the lead, even though Uganda has soldiers on Congolese soil to this day. And even though the M23 has been able to do what it's doing in the Congo, in part because of Uganda as well. So in any case, three phenomena have been able to persist. One, lack of accountability, right? Two, rampant impunity, right? Impunity meaning that the soldiers, Rwandan soldiers, Ugandan soldiers, been able to have their way in Eastern Congo. And three, lack of justice. So these three elements have persisted to the detriment of the Congolese people. And that's been consistent for the past 3 decades. And it's been allowed to happen, or it's been able to happen, because we're talking about two key agents of neocolonialism on the African continent: Paul Kagame of Rwanda, Yoweri Museveni of Uganda. Agents of colonialism, neocolonialism, neocolonial agents basically mean that they do the bidding of Western powers. Rwanda is particularly adept at this, right? Even as we speak today, we see that Rwanda is offered up to the Trump administration to serve as an outpost for the for refugees or for deported individuals that the Trump administration would like to send out of the United States, right? El Salvador is one place where they send them, and Rwanda said that, hey, we'll step up and we'll serve the empire and receive these individuals that the United States is throwing out, so to speak. And it's not the first time. Rwanda has offered to do it for the UK. The UK courts blocked it. Rwanda has done it for Israel, Netanyahu, where Israel was getting rid of asylees, and Rwanda stepped up and said, "Hey, Netanyahu, send them here. Send them to Rwanda for a price." So Rwanda has been a long-standing agent of neocolonialism, and that has enabled it. One of the reasons, anyways, enabled it to do what it does in the Congo, because it's doing the bidding of Western powers, whether it's receiving asylees from the UK, Israel, or the United States, or whether it's farming out its soldiers as mercenaries to French oil company Total, where they are in Mozambique, and Rwanda sent its soldiers to protect their oil interests there. Rwanda is ready to serve. And it makes sense. Rwanda is also lobbied Macron and the French government to head up France's soft power colonial type relic, the Francophonie. And former Foreign Minister Louise Mushikiwabo is the Secretary General of the Francophonie. So the head of France's soft power in Africa and globally is a Rwandan, the former Foreign Minister of Rwanda, Louise Mushikiwabo. So by virtue of Rwanda doing the bidding of the West, whether it's militarily or whether it's in terms of migrants, as a result of that, they get latitude to do what they wish pursue their regional interests in the east of the Congo. So what this is, as I said, has led to is the deadliest conflict in the world since World War II. And we've seen a resurgence. Now, even though Rwanda and Uganda are agents of neocolonialism, they've actually battled each other for control of or access to or control of resources and land and influence in the east of Congo. Right? There's in 2000, most notably in 2000, Rwanda and Uganda, their soldiers fought each other in what they call Six-Day War in the city of Kisangani, where 1,000 people were killed, scores were injured as the two military, the Rwandan military, Ugandan military, fought each other over minerals in the city of Kisangani in the northeast of the Congo, to the detriment of the local population. So there's no dispute about this, right? This is like historical fact. Invasion in 96, invasion in 98, support of militia groups from 1996 right through to today. And the constant, the militia groups may have changed their names over the years, but the constant, Paul Kagame, the head of Rwanda, Yoweri Museveni, head of Uganda. So we are here today where since the start of this year, right, Rwanda and its M23 militia took the destabilizing of the Congo to a whole nother level, where they captured two major cities in the east of the Congo. Goma, city of about 2 million people, North Kivu province, and Bukavu, and the South Kivu province, population of Bukavu about 1 million people, along with other territory in the Kivus, right, the eastern provinces. Now, and this happened near the end of January, even though the campaign had started, that is the campaign of Rwandan soldiers, Rwanda supporting M23 militia in the Congo, since 2022, or really late end of 2021 going into 2022, right? The first city captured by the M23, Rwanda-backed M23, was Bunagana, bordering Uganda, which couldn't have happened without Uganda signing off, right, on that. So from Bunagana to Goma to Bukavu, the Rwandan military and its M23 militia has continued to accumulate territory in the east of the Congo in violation of international law, right? And just in July, the United Nations and group of experts reported that Rwanda and its M23 militia continue to acquire territory, right? And this is after the signing of a peace agreement, they call it the Washington Accord, between the Rwandan government and the Congolese government on June 27th, right here in Washington, D.C., the State Department, with a follow-up briefing in the White House itself, where the two parties came together to sign what subsequently be known as the Washington Accord, right? And this Washington Accord, this peace agreement, is supposed to address the occupation, right, of Eastern Congo by the Rwandan government to Rwandan soldiers, right? That's what it's supposed to address. Now, this June 27th peace accord, right, come in the wake of or after a unanimous vote on the part of the 15-member UN Security Council, right? By the way, UN Security Council, 15 members of the UN Security Council met today in New York to address the crisis in the Congo. And it was an emergency session called by the United States itself. The United States that shepherded this peace deal for the United States, which is to serve U.S. interests in shepherding a peace deal and bringing Rwanda and DRC together, is that the peace deal is supposed to serve as a foundation for a minerals deal where U.S. investors, where the environment would be made such that U.S. investors can come in and access the coltan and the copper and the lithium and minerals, critical minerals in east of the Congo. So the Security Council in February 21st, voted unanimously that 15-0 vote, the entire world, in essence, because you have the 5 permanent members, there on the council. We're talking about, countries like China, U.S., France, UK, right? Talking about Russia, right? They, along with the other members of the Security Council, the 15-member councils is made up of countries, currently, such as Algeria, Denmark, Greece, Guyana, Pakistan, Panama, right? Korea, Sierra Leone is on there, Slovenia, Somalia, right? So all of them, which represent the entire council itself, UN Council itself, voted 15-0, right, unanimously, that Rwanda, and they say that Rwanda should immediately withdraw its soldiers, right, from Congolese territory. This is back in February. Rwanda should immediately withdraw its soldiers from Congolese territory unconditionally, no conditions, right? Rwandan soldiers need to get out, right? And they go on to say Rwanda should cut its ties with the M23. Now, the M23 could not exist as it does without the backing of Rwanda, without Rwandan soldiers being embedded, without Rwanda operating or commanding and controlling the M23. We're pleased to see there's some progress in the narrative among major media outlets. We see Reuters and AP and BBC now finally saying, whenever they mention the M23, they say Rwanda-backed M23. This is a new vernacular, Rwanda-backed M23. They hadn't done this for a long time. Before, the major media outlets report that they'll say that Rwanda is allegedly in the Congo, and then they'll go on to say Rwanda denies, having soldiers in the Congo. So I'm glad to see that in terms of the narrative, that's just been put aside, and it's made clear that the way when you talk about M23 in the Congo, you have to talk about Rwanda, because there's no M23 in the Congo without Rwanda. So major media outlets, when they report now, they say Rwanda-backed M23, right? So back in February, the UN Security Council, 15-0, unanimous decision, said that Rwanda's soldiers should get out. Rwanda should cut its tie with the M23. There should be a ceasefire, and a number of other things. Now, by the time we get to June, and there's this peace accord, it's almost as if the peace accord turned the world upside down, right? The peace accord, although it references the UN resolution, and by the way, that's UN resolution 2773, UN resolution 2773. You can look it up. I know if Quito can find it and share it as well, so people can read the resolution for themselves. Basically, pinpoint Rwanda and Rwanda's connection to the M23. So the M23 has played a dominant role as a result of Rwanda's support. Rwanda's not just support, command and control, right? This is well documented. This has been the case since 2022, but most evidently since the violation of international law, the capture of Goma and Bukavu in earlier this year. We just did a simple word search on this accord that the United States shepherded between Rwanda. This is a June 27th agreement between Rwanda and the DRC. And just a word search on M23. Now remember, it's M23 that's occupying territory in the east of Congo that's displaced millions of Congolese. There's 7 million internally displaced Congolese, right? Rwanda and M23 killed 7,000 Congolese, right, when they captured the city of Goma, right, and Bukavu, right? Rwanda M23, right? Violation of international law, capturing of major cities, occupying large swaths of territory throughout the east of the Congo. Now, this agreement that was signed in Washington, and we all left scratching our heads in terms of how the Congolese government even signed on to such a thing. You look in the entire agreement, I don't know how many pages it is, but the M23 is mentioned just three times. And one of the three times was in the glossary, right? So you can say they're mentioned 2 times throughout the document. Now here it is. How can I say it? It's really difficult to put it into perspective for you to understand. Like the dominant aggressive force is not mentioned in this peace agreement that's supposed to resolve, or is mentioned in very little in the peace agreement that's supposed to resolve the crisis. In addition to that, Rwanda is allowed to insert the language defensive measures, right? So Rwandan government their way of acknowledging that they're in the Congo is, and they have soldiers in the Congo, intelligence services in the West, United Nations group of experts, they all say anywhere from 4,000 to 7,000 Rwandan soldiers, right? Well documented, not disputed by any legitimate source, period, right? So Rwanda M23 are the source of the major destabilization in the east of the Congo. And Rwanda crafts it as defensive measures, right? Defensive measures. Now, the defensive measures has resulted, as I shared with you, 7,000 people killed since January in capturing those 2 major cities. In one instance, in the city of Goma, when Rwandan soldiers came in and captured Goma, there was a prison break where I think 150 plus women were raped and burnt alive, right? As a result of the mayhem that occurred during the capture of the city of Goma. Estimated 7 million people have been displaced. Summary, the UN resolution is 27. Summary executions, right? Summary executions, recruitment of child soldiers, continued raping of women and razing of villages. And Rwanda like to make the world believe that these are defensive measures from what it says, right? From what it says is a threat from a rump group, they call them the FDLR, Democratic Forces for Liberation of Rwanda, FDLR, that participated, some members of which participated in genocide in 1994, right? Over 3 decades ago, right? That number in the, I think at the most 1,000, right? So Rwanda said that it has to, it exercises defensive measures, which is like an Orwellian term, right? To describe what Rwanda and the M23 are doing in the Congo, occupying territory, capturing major cities, summarily executing Congolese civilians, right? Displacing millions of people, plundering the resources, and all of this. And in fact, the UN report that Quito just put out says that Rwanda has 2 objectives, or pursuing 2 objectives in the east of the Congo, which has nothing to do with quote unquote defensive measures or pursuing the FDLR. 1, capturing mineral-rich areas. 2, accumulating more territory. Those are the 2 objectives according to the United Nations group of experts report that came out in July. All right. So in the face of this, right, we have this peace accord that was signed in Washington, facilitated by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Donald Trump's senior advisor for Africa, Masad Boulos, right? That lists the FDLR 43 times in this, the M23 primary source of the destabilization of the Eastern Congo with the Rwandan soldiers, listed 3 times. FDLR has virtually nothing to do with the destabilization of the east of the Congo, listed 43 times, right? So we see that just ask the question, how did the Congolese government even sign on to something like this when the whole world said that Rwandan soldiers and the M23 in Resolution 2773, United Nations Security Council, are the source of the destabilization of the east of the Congo. But yet and still, the Congolese government went ahead and signed such a deal. Now, the Rwandan foreign minister was challenged by a journalist in a press briefing at the United Nations earlier this year. I wish I had that video up, Kito. If I find it before we end, we'll share that video. I'll try and find it. But it was the Rwandan foreign minister's question said, well, how is the FDLR, right, a threat to Rwanda, right? And you know how the Rwandan foreign minister responded? He said an affiliate of the FDLR attacked Rwanda in 2019, 6 years ago. An affiliate of the FDLR attacked Rwanda in 2019, 6 years ago, and I think they killed 16 people. That was his claim, right? Now, put that up against what's happened in the Congo. If you take the 30-year war of aggression and plunder against the Congolese people, we see that if we said at least 6 million dead, estimated 7 million internally displaced, right? That's 13 million. So you have almost virtually the population of Rwanda, right, being affected in the Congo, either displaced or dead. So you're telling the world that in order for you to exercise these defensive measures and protect Rwanda, you have to kill off and displace almost the entire population of your country? That is just utter insanity, right? But that's what has been endorsed, right? So in effect, the Congolese government has been unable to protect the Congolese people militarily, and they failed to protect the Congolese people diplomatically. So it is so crucial that each and every one of us first and foremost understand the narrative. War of aggression and plunder for 3 decades that continues to this day, in spite of the June 27th Washington Peace Accord, right? That's just undeniable fact. So now, in the wake of the Washington Peace Accord, June 27th, we see that the Humanitarian, that's a publication, the New Humanitarian. I don't know if Kito can put that out. They talk about in the wake of the peace accord on June 27th. They said the Rwanda-backed M23 rebels continue to commit widespread abuses in DR Congo's Goma. They said many people are arrested, some disappear, and family members don't know where their loved ones are, right? A scathing report that looks at what's been happening in Goma, right, since January, right? Since the M23 and Rwandans captured the city of Goma. Not that one, brother, but the Rwandan. If you put up the one with the New Humanitarian, report that people can see. I'll put in the link in the chat so that you can share it as well if people would like to access it and read the report for themselves that you can share, right? So that's a new humanitarian report that that came out on the 13th of August. In addition to that, we'll see if Quito is able to get the new humanitarian report up before we move to some of the other reports. It's the last one. Thank you, brother. You can scroll down a little bit and show people the this report. So here it is. We're talking about a peace deal that's been signed June 27th, and now we have in July, the group of experts come out and say, well, this FDLR that Rwandans are talking about, that's really not their main pursuit in the east of Congo, but it's minerals and land, right? That's a UN Security Council group of experts. Then this expose by the new humanitarian gets into, some of the, gives you an insight, a window into what's been happening in the territories that's been captured by the Rwandan soldiers and the M23 militia, right? And so that's a second insight into what's been taking place in the east of the Congo. Now, recently, within the past couple of weeks, we see that Amnesty International came out with a report on what's been going on. And with a screaming headline, DRC warring factions in Eastern DRC commit horrific abuses, including gang rapes, summary executions, and abductions, right? They lay that out in the Amnesty report. They said the brutality of the warring parties knows no bounds. These atrocities are intended to punish, intimidate, and humiliate civilians, right? And Amnesty talks about that occurring by Rwanda and M23, and also some of the other militia groups that they call Wazalanda that are fighting in Eastern Congo. The main point is that the destabilization, the war of aggression and plunder is having a devastating impact on the civilian population, women and children in particular, right? Women and children are bearing the brunt of this war of aggression and plunder, which has been going on for 3 decades, right? It's been unfolding for 3 decades, and the principal reason why it's been permitted to go on is because the perpetrators receive cover, right, from the global elite, right? There's no justice, no accountability, and rampant impunity. No justice, no accountability, rampant impunity, and the Congolese women and children are paying the price for it. All the time, meanwhile, minerals are extracted out to power our modern devices, right? So the whole world benefits at the expense of the Congolese people, and this has been normalized. So our challenge, right? As people of goodwill throughout the globe is to cease the normalization of what we see unfolding in the east of the Congo. And we cease the normalization of that by learning about it, by articulating the narrative that is clear and right in front of us, a war of aggression and plunder, right? Rwanda is to Congo and the Congolese people what Israel is to Palestine and the Palestinian people, right? Israel benefits from the largesse of the West, the US and others, in terms of monies, in terms of military equipment. And then when they commit the crimes of genocide in Palestine, across the board, the West covers for Israel. And this is similar to what we see on a smaller scale in terms of the what's been invested into Rwanda by the West, but it's the same playbook. Now, what that means is because on a smaller scale, we, ordinary people throughout the globe, can have an impact in bringing an end to this, right? Friends of Congo and a host of other groups in 2012 mobilized in Washington and throughout the United States to the point where United States and a bunch of European powers, right, European nations withheld military aid from Rwanda when Rwanda and its M23 captured the city of Goma in 2012. Like, this is not the first time. This is not the first go around for the people of Goma, right? In 2012, Rwanda and the same M23 captured the city of Goma. But at that time, there was greater pressure, withhold the military aid, right, from the Rwandan government, robust diplomatic offensive, right, robust military offensive on the part of the United Nations, right? They had what they call the Force Intervention Brigade, and most importantly, it's remarkably heroic figures in the Congolese military, like Mamadou Ndala, right? Major figure who led the military offensive against the M23, defeated them, the M23 and the Rwandan soldiers, but they were allowed to retreat back into Rwanda and Uganda. And then over a decade later, 2022, Kagame flipped the switch and went back to the same playbook, reactivated those M23 that were basically sitting in cells. It's probably the appropriate way to put it, in Rwanda and Uganda. So what we know is that pressure can be applied to Rwanda in order to bring an end to this. It's just that ordinary people throughout the globe really have to be focused. We've seen back in the spring, we saw some pressure put on Rwanda, where Canada, Germany, UK withheld some aid. The United States sanctioned one of Kagame's top officials, like his right-hand man from day one in the invasions of the Congo, James Kabarebe. He's on the sanctions list of the United States right now, right? But we also saw where Rwanda uses sports teams and entertainment figures to attempt to cleanse the crimes that it's committing in the Congo and in Rwanda as well. So we saw that now that one of German football teams, Bayern, the football team, said that they're no longer going to continue to support the Visit Rwanda campaign, as a campaign that Rwanda launched, where football teams in Europe put Visit Rwanda on their jerseys. So the German team said they're not going to do it. We saw the fans of Arsenal step up and try to put pressure on Arsenal, and Arsenal is, at least responding, taking into consideration. We saw a lot of pressure put on John Legend when he went to Rwanda to perform, and he had to respond to the pressure. Thames, Nigerian singer, she opted out. Much kudos to her. So all those efforts have to continue in spite of the peace agreement that was signed, because here we're seeing UN Security Council, the UN group of experts report that the same crimes are being committed. We see the new humanitarian with his expose. Kito just shared with you the Amnesty International report. And then you also have, we'll get into the Human Rights Watch report as well. So the abuses continue. And Rwandan soldiers are still occupying the Congo, right? So as long as Rwandan soldiers are occupying the Congo, we need to be laser focused on applying pressure. So Amnesty International has a petition out for the NBA, to put pressure on the NBA. We'll get that loaded up and shared with you, that you can sign a petition and support. The World Cycling Council, World Cycling is going to be supposed to be in Kigali in September. We need to put pressure on World Cycling. Formula One is looking into agreement. So all of these entities that are engaging with the Visit Rwanda business effort, marketing and promotion effort, we need to put pressure on those entities. That's the most direct way that we, average people throughout the globe, can have an influence on an impact on the Rwandan war of aggression and plunder. The Rwandan war and aggression and plunder, the most direct way that we can have an impact is by putting pressure on these sports teams, these entertainers, these sports associations that are engaging with Rwanda, so that Rwanda, thank you, Kito, for getting that out, so that Rwanda feels, because the Rwanda's Visit Rwanda campaign brings in dollars for the Rwandan government. So that's the way to hit Rwanda in the pocket. They just, unfortunately, Good Morning America just did an expose on Visit Rwanda, where they talk about going to see the gorilla parks in Rwanda. So we need to apply that, continue to apply the pressure. The amnesty petition is a good one for people to support, irrespective of which country you're in. Resolution 2773. The Security Council met today, I shared with you. The UN Security Council met today at the behest of the United States, and they talked about the ongoing suffering on the part of the Congolese people. So if you are particularly in the countries where the members of the current UN Security Council are located, we're talking about Algeria, talking about Denmark, we're talking about Greece, talking about Guyana, talking about Pakistan and Panama and Korea and Sierra Leone and Slovenia and Somalia. If you're in these countries, reach out to your government and call on your government to apply, take the resolution, put into effect Resolution 2773. It's not just solely a question of voting on a resolution, but once they voted unanimously on that resolution, if there has not been any progress, they can apply sanctions, they can apply embargoes. There's a lot of tools at the disposal of the United Nations that's not being leveraged. That's why I really, really do not understand why the Congolese government did not pursue that as just as a matter of course. The Congolese government should be in talks day in and day out with Algeria, Denmark, Greece, Guyana, Pakistan, Panama, Korea, Sierra Leone, Slovenia, Somalia, and say and be on them and saying let's put some teeth behind this resolution. In addition to the 5 permanent members of the UN, it should be a diplomatic offensive. But if the Congolese government isn't doing it, we're calling on you, the people in these countries, to reach out to your ministries and just let them know what's unfolding in the Congo is untenable. That you, as a human being on this planet, refuse to normalize the atrocities that are being committed against Congolese women and children. So those are direct actions that you can take if you want to have an impact on conflict in the east of the Congo. And this is not just speculation. As I shared with you, happened in 2012, and we can make it happen again today if people are focused, right, and engaged around applying pressure to the Rwandan government, irrespective of what the Congolese government says, whatever peace accords are out there, because what we know today is that Congolese women and children are suffering. We had 4 women from the area, occupied territory, some that got out. A few of them are in exile. We came to facilitate their visit to Washington. This was in advance of the peace accord, right? The June 27 peace accord. And they came with very specific demands, right? 1 was to amplify their voices. 2 was for them to be a part of whatever peace process is being discussed or presented. So we're talking about folks who are directly affected on the ground in the Congo that have come right here to Washington and have shared what it is that we can do. So there is no excuse saying that we don't know what to do, because the people who are on the front lines have shared what needs to be done. And if you follow us on our Instagram page or any of our socials at Congo Friends, you'll see that very specific. If you just go to our Instagram page right now, there is a pinned action item, five things you can do, 5 actions you can take immediately, and they encompass what I just shared with you. So, in addition to the UN Security Council Resolution 2773, in addition to the UN Group of Experts report in July, the new humanitarian report, Amnesty International report, Human Rights Watch also came out with a recent report, and Brother Kito, you can put that up as well, where they say Rwanda-backed M23 mass killing near Virunga National Park, where they said the Rwandan-controlled, notice they said the Rwandan-controlled M23 armed group summarily executed over 140 civilians in July of 2025. July of 2025. That means after the June 27th peace accord. The Rwandan-controlled M23 armed group summarily executed over 140 civilians in July of 2025. So we see that Rwanda, irrespective of the peace accords that are discussed and signed and put up there, we see that the killing continues. And it is these series accumulation of reports that prompted the United States to call for the Security Council meeting today at the United Nations. That was presided over by the Security Council representatives of the United Nations. So this is really should be a rallying cry, right, for people who are concerned, not just about the Congo, but the continent as a whole. People are concerned about the women and children, people who are concerned about the conditions of humanity, human beings on the planet writ large. It's time for us to really, step up our engagement and applying pressure to the Rwandan government and those that are backing the Rwandan government, the United States, the United Kingdom, France in particular. European Union's got a critical minerals deal with Rwanda. So really came on today, sit in for our brother Gaitan. Gaitan, we expect Gaitan to be back with you next week. But today we wanted to jump in and just address this key issue at hand right now, the conditions, the situation that's affecting our brothers and sisters in the east of the Congo. Kito, and if there are no questions, we'll wrap it there. We encourage people, if you want to learn more about what's unfolding, if you want to get involved, if you'd like to take action, we highly recommend that you go to freecongo.org. Freecongo.org. As soon as you get to that page, you'll be able to support the humanitarian effort on the ground, and those folks on the front lines are doing a remarkable job in feeding children, providing shelter, providing access to water, providing access to medical care, providing support, counseling, just a range of support efforts that members of the Basanja Coalition, got to give big ups to Basanja Coalition and the work that they're doing. So you go to freecongo.org, you can see the work that they're doing there. And also there's advocacy, where you can apply, reach out to your member of Congress and let them know that you don't want your tax dollars to be used, continue to be used to fuel conflict in the Congo. So Kito, we'll leave it there, freecongo.org. Also, there'll be more coming up over the next coming months. We encourage you to sign up for Congo Week, a global teach-in on the Congo, where you'll be able to learn about what's unfolding in the Congo and have the opportunity to take concrete action and to support folks on the front lines. And it's those folks on the front lines who are ultimately responsible for changing the situation in the country. Make no mistake about it. There is organizing taking place. There is mobilizing taking place. Folks on the front lines are organizing to change the conditions that the atrocious conditions that they're living in. Abject poverty, condition of deep dependency, massive insecurity. But there are folks on the front lines who are organizing, resisting. So we encourage you to support them. And you can do that at freecongo.org. There is a frontline force that's working to try and make a difference. So thank you, Gaetan, for holding the space at Congo Unfiltered. Hope I did you justice today, and look forward to having you back next week. All right. Thank you. Peace, everybody. Thank you, Brother Quito. Thank you for holding it down.